The broadcast is now starting.
So, like I said, my name is Scott Smith. I am the council administrator for Scoutbook. What that means is I am a volunteer who is pretty experienced with Scoutbook. I don't have access to any unit information. I can't go in and magically fix things for anyone. But I am a point of contact for you. I'm also a district commissioner in Horizon District. Here you can see my email and my phone number. And with that, we are going to run through some things. But before we get too in depth into some slides, so just to let you know, I have a few slides. I'm going to go through them pretty quick. I'm not going to bore you to death with Death by PowerPoint. And then we can go through and do some live demonstrations based on your questions into Scoutbook. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a poll. So you're going to see a pop-up screen hit your screen. And it's basically asking, do you currently use Scoutbook? And just, select yes or no. And we'll see those results once everyone's votes are in. And this webinar is designed for people that aren't using Scoutbook, but if there are people that are using Scoutbook, then we can address those issues as well. All right, it seems like a majority, if not all, are not using Scoutbook. Okay, great. So we're just going to close that, call that done. And that's that. Okay, now moving on. As we're going through this, if since no one here is currently using Scoutbook, if you are ready to start using Scoutbook right now, like you have if you're a committee chair or your committee chair shared the subscription code that the council sent with you, and you would like to be used as a live demonstration right now on the webinar and be walked through exactly how to set it up, shoot me either a private message or a question. And we'll do that, and everyone can see us get you all set up. But once again, I must stress that you have to have that subscription code from the council, or it's not going to work completely correct. But we can approach that as we go through. So think about that. If you have that information, if you have that email, and you would like a live walkthrough for your unit getting set up on Scoutbook, just let me know. All right, back to the slides. So Scoutbook embraced a transition in technology and standard rules for scouting. And just to make everyone aware, there's a general rule that most Scoutmasters have had for years when it comes to camping. It's always the first rule, especially in today's digital age. Put your phones in the bin. Don't bring your phones, leave your phones in your bag, etc. We want to have the boys focused on scouting. We want to have them focused on camping, or we don't want them checking their phone while they're supposed to be learning knife safety. Well, that doesn't actually fit with today's market, with today's scouts. You'll see, and this was done in 2016. Currently, 2018, 91% of 12 to 17-year-olds have a smartphone. Scoutbook was created to sort of address some of those issues. This is a great quote from a great scouter. If the Boy Scouts of America can teach our youth to use a knife safely, then why can't we teach the proper use of a smartphone? In April of 2015, Scoutbook was officially acquired by the Boy Scouts of America. So just for everyone's edification, Scoutbook.com was created, was invented and created by, see if I got a slide, here we go, by Sean Jackson. He is a dad. He also happened to be a son Scoutmaster. He also happened to be an app developer in his real world job. So he wanted to come up with something that filled in the gap for tracking Scouts' advancements. So he did this for his unit at first, and thought it was really good, and he liked it, and all the leaders liked it, and everyone could log in, and happy days. And then he distributed it to a couple other units in his district. From there, he released it to his council. After his council adopted it, he went ahead and started up the actual Scoutbook.com website and released it live for a subscription. And after 3 years of operating, it became the number one most used advancement tracking software for the BSA. In April of 2015, the Boy Scouts of America optioned and bought it. They bought it outright. They own all rights to it, and they hired Sean Jackson as the chief developer. So Sean Jackson actually works now full time, paid for the Boy Scouts of America on Scoutbook.com. So this is probably what we're used to looking at. We're used to looking at every single Scout's handbook to see if he's ready for the next rank advancement or the next merit badge or what have you. Or we have some, jumbled up, crazy computer spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheets to track all the Scouts. As a Scoutmaster, as well as a pack committee chair, I can understand and feel the pain of this. Scoutbook.com is designed to solve that problem. So with Scoutbook.com, there's no more need to transfer paperwork between things. What I mean by that is you no longer have to look at a Scout's handbook, fill out a piece of paper, send that piece of paper to council, and then the Scout moves, so you have to make sure you do another report and you send that up to them. It's all done completely inside the program. On top of that, Scoutbook.com syncs automatically with the national database. So when you mark a Scout as having earned an award, that gets reported immediately. It may take some time for the different software interfaces to be able to view it, but it is recorded immediately. And it's not just an app. It's a web application. And what that means is it looks the same and it works seamlessly on any device. Whether you have a Galaxy Note or an iPad or an iPhone or a Mac laptop or a Windows desktop, or you're borrowing your son's World of Warcraft gaming computer, it's gonna look the same. Scoutbook is just that. Scoutbook is Scout first. It's Scout focused. There are tools that make it easier for the unit, but it's specifically designed for the Scout. It's designed to track the Scout's advancement. It's designed to track his achievements, his service hours. And as such, there's no council or district tools in there. As the council administrator, I can't go in and see how many service hours that troop 123 has logged. It's not there. It's a Scout/unit tool. The unit uses it, but with the focus on the Scout. Leaders can do a lot of amazing things inside Scoutbook. The calendar is probably one of my favorite features. I love the calendar. You can go and create all of your events for the entire year, put all of your invitees on there. You can request RSVPs, permission slips. You can add a feature where you have to track if they've paid to attend to that event for something like a Pinewood Derby. You can approve advancements. You can create purchase orders and email that purchase order to the program supply center, and they can help you get those items ordered. You can mark the items that you've awarded them at a PAC meeting or at a court of honor. You can even see if your unit leaders are trained in their positions. Besides just YPT, it'll actually sync, or rather, it will download from my.scouting to see if those leaders have completed their training online. So you don't need to routinely log into more than one system. They've tried to make it so that you only have to do your day-to-day business in one system. And the best thing about Scoutbook, and I'll show you guys how that works. But the best thing about Scoutbook that I found is the forums. The forums on the Scoutbook is by far the most populated, responsive, and knowledgeable scouters that I've ever met with. Um, you can post a question on there and get an answer within hours. Even as far away and removed as the time zones that we are, I'm 4 hours ahead of GMT or UTC, however you want to consider it. So that puts me 12 hours ahead of the US, 11 to 12 hours. And I can post a question and have a response within a couple hours. So it's the forums are a great resource for any and all leaders. So, just by way of clarification, this is a small diagram of how actually the data works. So, scoutbook.com syncs this data with what's called ScoutNet. You have my.scouting that also syncs data with ScoutNet. Now, in between is a tool that's been used in the past called Internet Advancement. Internet Advancement is an interface that units use to interact with that Akela or ScoutNet data. Akela or ScoutNet is actually the national database um, on advancements and a few other things, but that's primarily what it is. One of the best things that you're going to like about, or let me rephrase that, one of the best things that your unit is going to like about Scoutbook is the fact that scouts have the ability to see their own screen. So even when you pull up your son, or if you give permissions for your son to log in, they see their awards right there. This is exactly what it looks like. This isn't a screenshot of just a bunch of awards put on there. These are all awards that an actual scout has earned. You can actually see that the parent's name, Scott Fisher, he's one of the leading volunteers behind Scoutbook. So he used his son as an example for this screenshot. But as they get an award completed, it shows up there. So you see all their merit badges. It's a visual. It's not a spreadsheet with 150 rows per scout. When you're tracking advancements inside Scoutbook, these are the basic checkmark type things that you'll see. If you see something grayed out, that means you're not able to mark it as completed because there's some other requirement that needs to be done first, or you've already completed a requirement that doesn't require you to complete that one. Obviously, clear white with the gray border, that's you haven't even started that. Green border around it and still blank is they've started a requirement underneath that. So, for example, like say the tenderfoot badge, they may have done one of the requirements within it, but not completed it. So you'll get that started one. When an award is completed, 100% completed, you get the green check mark. And then a scout leader can go through, whether that be the scoutmaster, the den leader, the advancement chair, whoever the case may be, can log in and say, okay, yes, I validate that this award is completed and I approve it. And then last is the gold check mark. And you usually use that one when you award the award, whether it's at a PAC meeting or a court of honor. And just by way of explanation, that blue check mark, that leader approved check mark, that is the signal to Scoutbook to sync items with ScoutNet. So just because a scout or maybe an assistant den leader has marked an item as completed doesn't mean it gets recorded. It only gets recorded in the national database when the blue check mark is there, when the leader has approved it. And I'll show you guys how to go through and do that. So there's a whole bunch of slides on the different rank advancements, Lion all the way through Eagle, and what's it look like. I'm going to spin through them pretty fast. But what you can see here is you have on the left side, you have the required adventures for a Lion Scout and his percentage of completion to them. And then on the right-hand side, you see the electives. So this is typical for what any rank requirement is going to look like, whether it be Lion all the way up to Eagle. When you're marking requirements, so you can see all of these have been leader approved, basically you click the checkbox next to the number and you mark it as completed. You check the box that says leader approved, but it shows the date it was completed and who approved approved it or completed it. In fact, they've added a couple other things. It'll show the name of who marked it as completed, who marked it as approved, and who marked it as awarded, and the dates for each, just so you can go through and audit those. So here is where we were talking about some of the other options. If you look up at the Tiger rank requirements, you'll see a green box that's blank. And what that means is this scout has done something along the Tiger rank path, but he hasn't completed his Tiger rank. And so you can see at the bottom, it says Tigers in the Wild. That's been marked as completed and approved. And so it's counting towards him having completed the Tiger rank. Very similar. You can see the wolf one here, so you see some 20% ones over here. Most of the awards, if not all of them now, like on the right hand side, you'll see a little dial indicator. So it'll say 20% instead of just being verbiage underneath. You'll actually see a dial that'll show you that percentage to completing that adventure. And clicking on these, and I'm not going to go through them all, but clicking on each one of them will bring up the specific requirements for each one of them. In fact, let me back up. So here, if you click on the Bobcat rank badge, you will see these items. It'll tell you exactly what requirements you need to do to mark that rank is completed. And this is for every award. No, there's not an award that's on Scoutbook where you can't drill down until the actual requirement to earn it, whether it's a merit badge or anything else, totem chip, anything like that is going to be on there. The only thing that's not are the religious awards, for various reasons. So here's the Arrow of Light. So you can see the difference between the Weeblos and the Arrow of Light. The Weeblos required badges are diamond, but the electives are an oval because they're shared with the Arrow of Light, whereas the Arrow of Light required adventures have the little arrowhead, and the Arrow of Light electives are shared with the Weeblos, so they're also still an oval. Yes. So Melissa asked if the awards are the updated requirements and not the ones in the book. That's correct. So Scoutbook is routinely one of the first people to get a hold of these new requirements. And is once those requirements are published, whether in a newsletter or on Brian on Scouting or something like that, once they're told that they're official, the team goes in and then reorchestrates them so that the proper requirements will show. One of the things I can do, let's see if it's up here. Yes, here we go. So on this Bobcat badge, and here's what will happen when the rank advancements change, because BSA advancement rules and guidelines state that whatever requirements exist when you start the rank are the requirements you use to finish the rank. So no one ever has to start, let's say, their Life Scout in with one set of requirements and then go back and redo something in order to finish it. There's always a phase-in period, and generally, the phase-in period is pretty much whenever you start it is the requirements you use when you finish it, however long that takes. So, for example, here on the Bobcat badge, you can see there's 2-year requirements right here. My cursor doesn't show up, but just below the earned, you'll see a 2010 and a 2015. What that's doing is that's showing what year the scout started on that rank, or what requirements you're using as a leader to approve that rank. So say, for example, I was going back and backdating one of my Weeblo scouts. He probably wouldn't be on the 2015 requirements. He'd have been on the 2010. So I would hit that 2010 toggle. It would show me the requirements for the Bobcat badge as of 2010 to include the verbiage. Sometimes the requirements just change the wording a little bit, but the requirement stays the same. Even when that happens, they'll put one of these toggles up just so that you can see what the requirements were when the scout earned the award. They don't change automatically. That's something you as a leader have to go in and do. And that's for any rank or any merit badge or anything like that that has multiple requirements that were released over years. They'll list this until that scout drops. So, for example, it's now 2018. You're not going to have any scouts and Cub Scouts that earned the Bobcat badge in 2010. So you probably won't see the 2010 badge anymore, but you'll still see the 2015 and maybe like a 2017 or 2018 requirement, depending on the rank, award, or the adventure. As I'm answering questions that you guys type in here, if I don't do anything if I don't fully answer the question for you, just let me know. Shoot another question. Turn your mic on and tell me to hold down, and we'll make sure I get it answered to your satisfaction. So just going through the requirements again, you're going to see here's the scout rank and the tenderfoot requirements. Once again, you click on the rank and it you'll drill down to the actual requirements. It'll show you when they were completed. For your higher ranks in the Boy Scouts, your Star, your Life, your Eagle, it'll also show the merit badges and the merit badges that were completed. So if it says you have to have 6 merit badges, 4 that have to be Eagle, it'll show you the first 4 Eagle merit badges that you completed as being valid for the Star rank, and then the next 2 electives. It tracks all of that automatically, so all that they have to do is mark their stuff as completed, and the merit badge counselor signs the stuff off. So here's going through the Eagle one. So what's happened here is you can see on the left side, you've got 2 blue check marks and 1 green one. So basically someone has marked the green one as being completed, but a scout leader hasn't approved that. A scout master or a committee member hasn't approved that specific requirement yet. And you can see on the right hand side all the gold check marks, which means he's already been awarded all of those merit badges. On top of earning them, he's already been awarded them. It'll track your palms as well. It'll track how far along you are for each. So as the scout completes merit badges, those will automatically fill in to where they need to fit to progress towards Eagle and then working towards the Eagle palms. So most, if not all, of the other type awards or achievements are also tracked. Messengers of Peace is on there, Mile Swim, your Den Chief Service Award, emergency preparedness, cyber chips, outdoor conservation. If you can think of it, they pretty much track it on there. Another great feature about it is it will track leadership time, whether as a Cub Scout or a Boy Scout. It'll carry on throughout the life of the account and Scoutbook. It'll show how many days they've had towards each rank in leadership. So you'll see this example scout here, Donovan. For over a year, he was a den chief. But then when he hit life, he was a den chief, he was the troop guide, he was a venturing crew vice president, a quartermaster, and so on. And it totals up the entire amount of leadership time that he has as a life scout. It's not towards life scout, it's as a life scout. So the requirements for Boy Scouts state that use 6 months as a Star Scout in one of the following positions. As a Life Scout in one of the following positions. It tracks all that for you by days. Okay, Michael, will Scoutbook take all historic advancement data and migrate it into platform? Okay, that's a double-edged sword. I'm going to give you a quick answer now, just to move on and go through the slides. But then we can talk more in the Q&A session about that. So Scoutbook, when you migrate from, if your unit has only ever used advancement reports or internet advancement or Excel sheets or anything like that, it'll take whatever is in the council database, in the national database, in Akela, and pull that into ScoutNet. But once again, ScoutNet only tracks completions. It's not going to track your partial requirements. ScoutNet doesn't track hiking miles or service hours or anything like that. So that, since that stuff has never been reported to ScoutNet, it cannot be pulled into Scoutbook. With that being said, if you're using a third-party software such as Scout Tracks or Cub Trails, or there's a couple others out there, there are import templates that you can use to export all the data from the system you are using and import it into Scoutbook. It's not a beautiful one-time click and it's done system. I don't advise it for most units, but for smaller units, it might work okay. For units that are using Troop Master, from what I'm told, not being a Troop Master or Pack Master person myself, from what I'm told, their import templates are really good and it will import a lot of that. But when you hit an error, because it takes 2 or 3 days to process that, it doesn't process automatically. The team has to do that on the back end. So they'll spend 2 or 3 days trying to get that, and then they'll hit an error, and then they'll send the files back, and they'll say, we encountered an error. You need to go through your files and fix the error. So you could spend a couple of weeks going back and forth if there's errors in your data. The easiest thing to do for any unit going into Scoutbook the first time, especially if you're using the Troop Master Web function, which I think automatically syncs with Internet Advancement, is to complete your unit's last advancement after their final court of honor and all the scouts, scattered to the four corners for the summer, and then do an import from ScoutNet so that you have the advancement data in Scoutbook, and then you have time to get that other information in there if you had a very robust tracking system like TroopMaster. But like I said, we'll come more to syncing and migrating towards the end of the show and definitely during the live demo. So Scoutbook also tracks training, and it's not just training for youth, but training for adults. So when you type in someone's BSA ID, you can go to either their account for a scout or a training report for the leaders and sync that information with the national database. So on the left-hand side, you're actually seeing a scout's record. On the right-hand side, you're seeing an adult's record. So the only thing that's going to be, it's got that little ribbon thing. You can't see it. It's just below the green check mark. You may not be able to read it. It says ScoutNet verified. What that means is that training is on the official national database, like, for example, your YPT, and it pulls that information in. If someone's information isn't there, one of two things have happened. Either one, the membership number's wrong in some way, shape, or form. There's about 3 different ways that could happen. Or two, it's just not recorded at the national level. So, for example, ILST. That's something I have for my Boy Scouts in Scoutbook, but it's not something that gets reported all the way up to national. So a lot of times those scouts won't have that at the national level, whereas NYLT is. So it's kind of for the youth, it just depends on what the training is. For adults, if it's on their training record in My.Scouting, it'll be pulled into Scoutbook. Once again, it tracks by scout, service hours, camping logs to include frost points if your units use those, or hiking miles. There's some really neat reports you can do with this stuff. I will try to show you all of them if we have enough time. But once again, none of this is pulled from the national database. This is stuff you have to plug in on your own or import from another service, from another software. And just so everyone knows, the camping night thing does not automatically feed your rank required camping nights or your merit badge required camping nights. But what it does automatically feed is your OA eligibility camping nights. So when you're running a Scoutmaster conference, you got a couple extra screens to click through to make sure your scouts have completed those items. But it's fairly seamless. It's not like it's a huge burden or anything. So this is an example of what the trained leaders report looks like. So blue check marks means it's been synced with the ScoutNet, with My.Scouting, the training database, and a red check mark means that their training is expired. So you can see right here, you've got 2 leaders that need to retake their YPT, that they're expired on their YPT. Another question that's very, very common is, well, what training do the leaders have to do in order to earn their trained badge? Scoutbook will tell you. There's no more guessing. There's no more look at a flyer and use this verbiage or check the scout course numbers. You don't have to do that anymore. When that trained badge pulls up on their on their training record, they have the right to wear that trained patch on their scout uniform. You can add events just like this, and you can sync these calendars with if you're using it on an iPhone, you can sync it there. You can sync it with Google.com. I use Google. It syncs to my work calendar, so I track my work hours and my scout hours to determine my availability for these webinars. So it's got some pretty robust features. Okay, so that's a really good question, Michael. You said besides yourself as the committee chair, who else in the unit gets full visibility? That's the determination of the unit through the unit admin. So Scoutbook is not a unit account based system. What I mean by that is you don't create one account and then type everything in like you're used to, like you've done with Troop Master or Scout Tracks or Internet Advancement or anything like that. It's a permissions based system. So ideally what happens, let's say you're starting fresh and you have nothing to migrate, you create an account in Scoutbook and you put in yourself as the committee chair and you type in your BSA number. And since you created the account, you're a unit admin, and Scoutbook verifies that with the national database. And then you go in and you add 35 scouts. Well, after you add the 35 scouts, you add all of their parents. Well, some of those parents are also assistant scoutmasters or den leaders, as the case may be. Um, committee members, the COR, whatever. Well, you think that maybe the scoutmaster should probably have admin access, so you give him admin access. If your COR, is very, very involved in the committee, well, maybe he should have the view privileges, but maybe not edit or maybe not approve advancement privileges. So all of that is completely decided on the units itself. There's not there's some standard permissions just because you're going to be the person that creates the account, but other than that, it's completely 100% up to you. The standard rule is that adults cannot see scouts unless they have a reason to. So, for example, my COR cannot view all of the scouts in the unit because he's not involved in our committee. We see him once a year to sign paperwork. The committee members don't need to see all of the scouts, whereas the advancement coordinator, he actually, in my unit, we give him admin access because he doesn't just need to see the scouts, but he runs the advancement reports. He sends those to the scout shop to get the badges ordered, et cetera, et cetera. But we made that determination at the unit level. Nothing will be decided for you through Scoutbook or through National. It's completely 100% a unit decision and fully customizable. So another thing that I absolutely love about Scoutbook is the email feature. Now, text doesn't work for us because we're overseas, but you're going to love the email feature. In Scoutbook, when you invite parents to connect to their son's account, it saves their email address. You don't get to see it, but it saves it. Now, the great thing about that is when I want to send an email to the entire unit, I go into Scoutbook, I select the entire unit, and I send an email. I don't have to memorize emails anymore. I don't have to save 1,000 contacts. I don't have to maintain an Excel sheet with all the contacts or a troop mailing list or anything like that anymore. It's 100% in Scoutbook right now. So as I just spent over a year as a Scoutmaster this last year, finished up our last Corn of Honor was 2 weeks ago, and to this day I have not sent an email unless it was directly to one person through anything but Scoutbook. If I send an email to announce an upcoming camp out or hey guys, we got a camp out coming on, make sure you have your permission slips in, or hey, we got our BSA swim test this weekend, I use Scoutbook. Everyone gets it. It gets through the spam filters most of the time. But it's great because you don't have to memorize those emails anymore. For units that are in the US, you actually have a text message option. We don't, being overseas, but it's in there for those units in the US. Let's see, some more questions. David, can only the committee chair initiate a new instance for the troop? No, any leader can do it. any leader can create a quote unquote unit account for the troop or for the pack or whatever. Um, the reason why the codes were sent out to the committee chairs is because in order to do the advancement sync and pull that information in from the national database, you have to be one of the unit key 3, and advancement coordinator kind of falls under committee chair, so we send it to committee chair. Any of the key 3 can do it, and any adult leader, registered leader, can initiate that process, but only one of the key 3 can finish it up, if that makes any sense. Let's see. Um, Melissa, live setup. Okay, great. Catherine, promo code says it will provide my unit with a subscription, but can't seem to register. It requires a U.S. postcode. Okay. Great question, Catherine. So we'll go through that when I'm showing everyone how to do it. But just so everyone understands, every single person in your unit, their zip code is 09613. I know you want to write that down, so I'll say it slower. 09613. If you ever lose that number, just go to the contact page for the Transatlantic Council website. Because we're overseas, Scoutbook doesn't recognize international addresses, and it requires a zip code. So the easiest thing to do is to put in any APO, AE, or AF, or what AP, or even DPO zip code. Tax is 09613. When you put it in there and you hit update the profile, when you go back in, it'll actually only give you 3 options for a council. It'll say direct service, transatlantic, or Far East. So obviously pick Transatlantic Council, but I'll go through and show you guys all how to do that. Okay, so Michael, your question is another good one. Not all kids have smartphones. Are the parents or the SMA delegate for the Scouts? Yes. The only person, so when you add a scout to Scoutbook, you're adding their records. You are not physically giving them permission to access it. Only a parent can do that. So when I go in and I put in, Johnny Joe Smith, I'm just putting in his information. For him to actually log in and see his account, his parents have to, one, connect to his account and then invite him. So once you set up someone as a parent, they can invite that scout to connect their account, and then the scout has access to it. If the scout doesn't have access to Scoutbook, that does not affect your ability to record advancement for him. The other thing with that, especially with email, and I'll back up a screen for that, is it is impossible for an adult that is not the parent to, one, see a scout's email, or two, email them directly. When you send an email through Scoutbook, if a scout has connected to, so you can see on this far right screen, it says scouts and it's got their names and their parents' information and a little phone icon. If I were to click that and send that scout an email, those parents automatically get CC'd on that email. It is impossible for me to have one-on-one communication with the scout. So Scoutbook is fully 100% YPT compliant. But if that scout is not connected to Scoutbook, that does not hinder your ability to track his advancement. That just means he doesn't get a login on his own and see all of his cool badges. And Catherine, I accidentally deleted your question from here. So if you want to shoot me just another quick message and say something like, hey, don't forget me, then, or maybe I didn't answer your question, and I'll answer it again, but I accidentally deleted it. So one of the great things about scoutbook.com is that it automatically syncs. So you don't need to email off those advancement reports anymore. You don't need to hand carry them to a scout shop anymore. It's 100% automatically synced with the national database. And for any scout shops in the US that want to give you a hard time because you're picking up a bunch of awards, I'll show you a couple things you can show them on your reports where it basically tells them, hey, it's already reported, just give me the freaking awards. Here's some screenshots of the forums. I'm going to skip those because I'm going to show you how those actually interact. They put out a monthly blog post, if not more often, to talk about the updates to Scoutbook, and I'll show you that as well. if you go to YouTube, you can actually find hundreds of videos on Scoutbook. I'm not going to go through everything tonight. I'm going to try and demonstrate one or two units on getting them set up for the first time in Scoutbook. Barring that, I will attempt to show everyone some of the neat features, but there's hundreds and hundreds of resources on there. Plus, you also have my email, so if you run into any issues, you can shoot me those emails, and you also have the forums. But there's just too much to go through to answer everyone's question that may ever possibly happen. So they've created these videos and they put them on a shorter link, one of these bit.ly links. So it's bit.ly/scoutbook, and you can find all of their Scoutbook videos. Um, let's see, we can skip that. Okay, so just some quick information here. Um, what scoutbook.com doesn't do is it doesn't create a website for your unit. Like, I think there's a service out there that does it. I can't remember their name. But scoutbook.com does not do that. And it doesn't store documents. It's not like a Dropbox or a Google Drive. You can't go in and program a custom award. Say you want to track the Scott broke his foot on a chair award for breaking your foot or whatever. You can't type that in. You can't create that in there. It's only official nationally recognized awards. It's not free for units. Yet there is a subscription fee through Friends of Scouting donations. Our council has been kind enough to offer this to every single unit in the council. Since I mentioned Friends of Scouting, one quick plug. If you have received any value through scouting, or if you can show your appreciation for the council providing exceptional service and offering the subscription to your unit, please consider donating to Friends of Scouting. The ability for you to create an account for free this year would not be possible without Friends of Scouting donations. Okay, so we're at the Q&A session, and I have a question. History of inactive scouts also available, i.e. Eagles off to college? Yes, to a certain extent. So when someone leaves your unit, you check a box that says they're not active anymore, or you transfer them to the new unit, but you don't ever delete their records. Now, in the case of your Eagle off to college situation, there's not a simple way to age out a scout and convert his account to an adult account. So say you've had an Eagle Scout who turned 19 or 20, and you want to register him as an assistant scoutmaster. That process in Scoutbook has to actually be handled by IT. But just so you know, just because a scout is no longer registered with your unit, like they've moved on and their unit's not using Scoutbook or whatever, it doesn't delete their information from Scoutbook. But there is a way to essentially inactivate them so that you don't have to delete their accounts in the case of them moving to units that don't use Scoutbook. So we have reached our Q&A session. Let's see, Melissa. Melissa, do you think you're ready to run through and go through a live setup? Are you interested in sharing your screen and letting all 7 of our viewers take a look at your messy desktop and walk you through this one real quick? Is your mic working? I think Melissa's trying to figure it out. I'm trying to do it, but I have messed it up, and it seems that I have created an account, but not with an email. Interesting. I may be able to help you fix that, Catherine. I'm not quite sure. I can certainly try. So what I'll do, while looks like Melissa's trying to figure out the mic, and hopefully Catherine didn't mess it up. Okay, David, there you go. We'll use that. David, do you have your subscription code from the council? And is your mic working? Alrighty then, we're having all kinds of fun times. So I'm not hearing anyone talk. Apparently you're typing, and that's good because that means y'all can hear me, but I cannot hear you.
Hey Scott, this is Mike. Can you hear me?
I can, sir.
Okay, so my mic's working. All right.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
I'd offer to go live online, but I don't have my code handy here, so others do that if they're
Okay.
fine with this.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, sir.
Okay. I do have my code.
Okay.
If we want to give it a try. I don't know how you get my screen live though.
Oh, that'll be easy. I'll show you.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to try with Catherine here. Let's,
Am I supposed to be able to see your screen?
nope, but we are all about to see yours. 1 second. Okay. So that's going to give everyone a blank screen now. Now you should have the ability to share your screen. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There we go. Yes.
Yes, create a free Scoutbook account. Did you receive an invitation email? Let's go with no. Or did you?
Oh, go with no. Okay. I did. Well, the main person did. Sorry.
So no, you want to click no.
So we're gonna go no.
Yeah.
Okay.
What that means is if I added you as an adult leader to Scoutbook, then you get an email that says, "Hey, I've added you. Let's get you set up." You didn't get one of those.
Right.
Your unit got one saying, "Hey, why don't you sign up for Scoutbook and here's your code."
Okay. I don't remember seeing that, but I have a code, so
Good.
Sent through the committee chair. So.
Right.
So I do this?
Sure. Just remember, we can all see your amazing choice at a username there. And for zip code 09613.
09613.
Yep.
Okay. You won't be able to see my password though, right?
I will not. I will not.
I need to remember what I wrote.
I recommend that. Okay, so now it sent you an email with the verification code. So you need to pull that from your email.
Okay. Can we turn up my email is really messy.
Okay, no problem. There's a stop showing screen button that you can use.
Okay, there it is. Oh, yep, there we go. Or do I pause? Is there a pause?
Yeah, you can pause.
No.
We'll stare at Google while you're looking at it. That's okay. We're not picky, are we, people?
I'll do stop. Okay, here we go.
And so everyone will have to do this when they go to create an account initially. Now, if you receive an email invite, then you don't have to go through this process.
So now that I've clicked through the messy part, this is the email that I got.
Yep. And you just want to copy that code either, by hand or highlight, copy, paste, and paste it into the Scoutbook screen that we had up.
That we had up a minute ago. Where did that go?
Man, did we pick a good desktop.
Okay, yeah, isn't that wonderful? Give me a minute.
What's with our Scout leaders and their amazing desktops?
Oh, here it is.
Oh, that's okay, Melissa. Hopefully you can follow along. We're going to help Catherine out and get her going. And like I said, I'm recording this, so you guys will have access to this video.
Okay. So I've just copied and pasted, or I'm about to paste the actual code, and then.
No. That's not right.
Yep.
Nope.
That was not right.
You've copied your Transatlantic Council coupon code. We need your email verification code.
Now I've shown everybody everything.
That's okay.
Okay. Let me go back.
We all have our own. We don't need yours.
Yeah, exactly. That's the bit.
That's the one you want.
Okay. Yes.
There you go. Okay, so it has created an account for you. Now you want to proceed and log in with the information that you just used. Hopefully you remember your username and password.
Yeah.
Remember that.
I remember my email.
That's good.
No, apparently I picked the wrong one. Okay.
All right, you're in.
Yes.
So let's go
Blog.
to, no, yep, that's the blog, but we don't want to go there. We want to go to my dashboard.
Yep.
And let's go to administration, and you're going to see nothing. It's going to be amazing. So click
Yep.
on my account,
Mm-hmm.
and let's go down to edit profile.
Edit.
Yep, we want to get you set up with the right
I
council
see it.
first.
I see it.
So
Okay.
we need to get you set up with your unit and council first. So, right, let's scroll down to where it says local council, and let's change that to transatlantic.
Sounds good.
And for district, you can pick your district. And I'm not going to ask you to type in your BSA member now.
Okay.
But let's just scroll down and hit update.
Okay.
So now we want to go down and we want to go to my subscriptions. And then we're going to scroll down to where it says connected troop or pack plan, as the case may be.
There seem to be two different.
There's a pack plan and there's a troop plan. So whichever one you,
right? Boy Scouts. Yeah,
okay,
troop.
then you want the troop plan.
Mm-hmm.
And you have not set yourself up. Oh, I missed a step. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
So you see that? No. You see that red
Okay.
text where it says set yourself up as a leader in the troop? Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Just click that.
Okay.
Anytime you see red text anywhere on Scoutbook, that's something you can click.
Oh, that's good to know.
So let's click the add button. And we have our council. So let's pick a unit type. So for unit type, you're going to hit troop. Okay, now this is key for everyone listening. When you type in a unit number, it has to be 4 digits. Always 4 digits. So if you don't know your first digit, if you think you're only 301, just add a 0 and let's see if that works. If it doesn't, try a 3. But every unit has 4 digits, every single unit.
Yeah. In the email they sent me, it did say 0301.
Yep.
Or not, they didn't send me, but they sent the.
That's the one you want to use. And is that your unit? You
Yep.
are American School in England? Okay, cool, perfect. Let's pick your position.
So if I hold 2 positions, so I'm chartered organizational rep, but I've also just been put as advancement coordinator, but that's very new. The chartered organization rep I've been for a number of years.
Let's start with that. That'll help you out greatly in the coming steps if you're one of the key 3.
Okay.
For date started, you can pick a date. If you know the date, great. If you don't know the date and you've been it a couple years, just go back a couple years. It doesn't matter either way, but you need to put a date in there. So you can just click that calendar icon on the right-hand side and pick a date.
Yeah. And okay. So let's say September.
And these are how all the calendars look in Scoutbook, not just this one, but anytime you click something that has a date in it, this is how it's going to look.
So I can just say
pick any date. It doesn't matter. As long as it's not today, pick any date.
Okay. Let's say there. Okay.
And you need to click that agree button.
Okay.
And hit update.
Is this okay?
Yep. Now we want to go back to my profile. And click on my subscriptions again. It may buzz you on an error, but I doubt it. Yep. Troop plan, start trial. Now you want to click the little radio button for your unit. And it's going to give you a free trial, but that's okay. We're going to push right through that on the next one.
Is that okay?
Yep, it sure is. Yep, just hit create. Okay, now hit that little X button, and you want to scroll back down to the troop page.
Okay.
Right there.
Sorry,
and
maybe
you want to
the troop part. Yep.
manage troop subscriptions.
Okay.
And you want to leave it on the check your box there, but you want to leave it on pay for 1 year. And in where it says promotion code, that's where you want to put that 802 code that the council sent you. So it's going to be 802 dash something.
802. Now I need to go back to my subscription number that I had a minute ago.
That's the one you need.
Okay, I am gonna.
You're gonna hide us from your messy email. Yep.
There we go.
I believe it was 0168.
It was. Nice, good memory.
That won't happen again, I promise.
Okay.
It's only because it happened within the last 5 minutes.
Okay, let me just go back. Okay. So.
And hit the renew button. Yeah, there's not going to be balance due. Don't worry about that. All right. So you now have a subscription until 31 May 2019.
Okay.
So once this is done, if you has your unit used any advancement software in the past, or are you starting fresh with software going, this might be a good idea?
I think they've used some level, sorry. But I'm not very clear on what has been used. I think, yes.
Okay. Well, I will leave it up to you then if you want to chance this next step, because the next step is you can do two things. You can import your roster, which is important because it's only going to import your active scouts on your current roster.
Okay.
And when you do that, you can also import their advancement data that has been reported.
Should we give it a try?
I'm game if you are.
I'm game.
Okay. So let's click on Troop 301.
Okay, so is that right here?
Yep,
my units?
Right there. That's it.
Okay.
And we need to go somewhere. Scroll back up a little.
Okay.
Let's see if you can click inside that little red bar at the top. That may be the easiest way to get there. All right. It is. Nope, it took us to the forum post. Darn it. Okay, let's hit the back button.
I think I just go like that.
That'll work. So we want to go to the troop roster. And we want to click that roster import.
Is that need to import your roster? That part right there?
No, we want to go to the one at the bottom. Yep.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
And we want to do a ScoutNet import. So you don't need to worry about any of this. Scroll down. Oh, here's the part I forgot about, and I am sorry for that. Do you have your ScoutNet? You said you're the new advancement coordinator. Do you have your ScoutNet unit password for internet advancement?
For internet advancement, no. I'm like literally we sat in a meeting like last Monday.
Okay. So then for everyone else that gets to this point, this is how you import your roster. So if you want to scroll down your screen just a little bit there, Catherine, all you need to do is type in the password right here for your nope, up a little. Yep, right there where it says ScoutNet unit password. So That's exactly what that is. When your unit has an Internet Advancement account, there's a password set up. You type that in there, and then you type in that password. You don't need the username, just the password, and it'll import your roster. Once that is done, then you set up your advancement sync. Because you don't know your password, we can't do that right now. I think we can do parts of the advancement sync. So let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit more, but I doubt it.
Okay.
Let's click that unit setup button. No, we want to hit the red check mark, or the red text. Sorry. 3 active unit administrators. Let's see what it tells you to do. One more
For
time.
unit setup?
Yes. Must have a current unit subscription with at least 3 active unit administrators. Yep. So we need to do your import roster. So that's what we have to do first. Now there may be another way to go about this.
Okay.
Let's click on Troop 301 in the top bar where it says Troop 301. Just click that. And then we want to scroll down to where it says Edit Troop. Nope, it's the same thing. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to do. Now,
Okay.
the thing you may have to do, and something for everyone to remember, is you do your scouts first. So you don't go in and add all of your adults if you're doing this manually, if you don't want to do the roster import for whatever reason. You add your scouts first.
Okay.
And once you've added the scouts, then you add the adults. So you add all your scouts, and then you go into the scouts and you invite the parents. And then, for example, in my case, I don't have a son in my scout troop. After all the parents have been invited, then they had to go in and add me as the scoutmaster. Once that is all done and your roster is good, then you run through this process for the activate sync. What happens when you activate the sync is it will compare every scout you have on your subscription. It'll see if there's a registered and verified scout. Then it will compare the advancement between the two. So if you have no advancement for them in Scoutbook and there's advancement for them on the national system, it'll download that. If you have advancement in Scoutbook, but you don't have any in Internet Advancement, it will sync that to Internet Advancement. If you have differences between the two, so let's say in Internet Advancement, your son's a Star Scout, but in Scoutbook, he just completed his Life Scout Border Review. But for whatever reason, you didn't go back and backdate his Tenderfoot award, but that was on Internet Advancement. It'll do a two-way compare, and it'll sync the differences.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Will it always sync the differences to the advantage?
It only syncs the differences to the advantage the first time. After the first time, you're 100% synced, and so there are no differences.
Right.
So after your initial sync, after this activate sync, if someone, like say your old Internet Advancement coordinator, were to go in and mark something as completed on Internet Advancement, that would then
finishes off.
Right. That would sync down to Scoutbook.
Okay.
You go in and input something as a Scoutmaster on Scoutbook, but your advancement coordinator only uses Internet Advancement because that's what he likes and he's happy with it. Right. He would go in and he would see that information. Now, it's not immediate because, once again, and that's why I stressed it at the beginning, Scoutbook.com does not sync with Internet Advancement. It syncs with ScoutNet. Internet Advancement is just what you see as an interaction to ScoutNet. So it can take some time, 12 to 24 hours, for something to show up in Internet Advancement, but it's immediate to ScoutNet. And that's why you're not going to see anything referencing Internet Advancement in here. You see ScoutNet Internet advancement is once again just the face of it, and that's why I wanted to clarify that. So you're not syncing with internet advancement, you're syncing with ScoutNet.
Right. Okay. Sorry, my daughter's just.
Oh, that's quite all right. So since we are done with you, I am actually going to take back control somehow.
Yeah,
Figure out the thing. Make presenter me. Want to make myself the presenter? Yes, I do. Okay. Yep, show this window. All right. So now we are on to the question and answer phase. Someone sounds like they're at work.
That might be my very loud
Hey.
computer. This mic here in Berlin. Hey, listen, I've got to jump off pretty soon. I just want to know, because I can't see who's on the call, if anybody else from Berlin is on the call right now. Okay. I just want to make sure that we're not going to double the effort here, that I get this thing started and
well,
get our stuff.
If you have any questions, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll do anything I can to help you guys. I'll even set up a time to walk you through a one-on-one.
Okay, excellent. I want to thank you for your leadership, everybody else on the call as well. This is excellent stuff. I'm really impressed by this. Nothing will help a lot. So.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and mute you, but take care there, Mike.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, let's see, David. I've imported roster, but it only brought scouts in. Can I import adults? No, David. Unfortunately, you can't import the adults. You have to add them. It's only going to import those that are in ScoutNet for advancement. So you do have to go back in and add the adults. And when you do that, add their BSA number so that you can see their training. Maria and Praveen, welcome. Glad to see you.
Hey, Scott, how are you doing?
I've unmuted your mics, so I need you to go ahead and select the mute button unless you have a burning question. You're more than welcome to unmute your mics at any time. This is very much interactive. We are.
Can you hear me, Scott?
Yeah, just fine.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, just want to get started with this. And in fact, I wanted to hook you up with Nicholas, our advancement chair.
Right, yeah. So we've already gone through, so this recording is going to be made available for everyone, but we've already gone through the initial part. So now I'm gonna show everyone some of the neat things you can do inside Scoutbook and where to find some information. So like I said, unless you have a burning question, just mute the mic so we don't get too much feedback for our other viewers. Maria, it's great to see you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go ahead and log into Scoutbook so I can show you guys some cool, neat things here. And that's the one I want. And I think I remember my password. And I do. Great. So the first thing, when you log in, this is what you're going to see. Now, it doesn't always default when you log in here if you log in very often. But this is where I always start when I'm doing anything in Scoutbook. So I'm going to go ahead and mute you guys. If you have a question, just go ahead and shoot it to me in the chat. Let's see. So the blog is a great resource. So about once a month, the IT team, the development team, posts updates as to what's coming. So there was one that just came out a couple days ago. It basically talks about improved auditing, some program updates, advancing DENs, and what they're moving towards in a single sign-on. I didn't talk about it earlier because it's not going to affect us because they don't even have an end date yet. But at some point, you'll basically be able to log into either My.Scouting or Scoutbook and be able to get to both. You're not going to have to memorize 2 usernames and passwords. They don't have a timeline or an ETA on that. I can't answer any questions about it. That's just what their post is about. Most of your work is probably going to be done from what's called the dashboard. You're going to see some things on here that you're not going to have access to. That's fine. I've got a couple extra things from a couple different units as well as the council. But I'm just going to go into the troop. And I think I'm actually listed as the unit commissioner for the troop now because I'm no longer the scoutmaster. So you've got quite a few things you can do here. So you can see I have my boys already in patrols. The troop roster is where you see everyone. You actually have your own troop or pack forum. You can even have a patrol or a den forum if you like. So I'll show you this one. This one makes me laugh every time I see it. So we had a scout who showed up very late and had never been involved in scouting before and didn't speak much English. And we were going on a hike probably 5 days after he joined. So his mom posted here to the troop forum saying, "Does anyone have any hiking boots he can borrow?" Yes, those are the kinds of things you can post on a troop forum. But the valuable part is this right here where it says send a message. So you'll see I have 18 scouts over here. They've all connected. What that means is their parents have invited them to connect to their account. Their parent went in and typed in their email address and said, "Here you go, create an account." You can't do that as an adult leader. Only the parent can do that. I must stress that Scoutbook.com is 100% YPT compliant. But I have an upcoming camp out, and I want to make sure everyone gets this information. Well, I have 28 registered scouts, but only 18 are showing up here because it's only showing me the 18 that have connected their account. So I definitely need to send it to all the leaders, and I want to send it to all the scouts. But for the scouts that aren't there, since I've connected all of their parents, I click everyone for select all. I come down here and I type my email. I always leave this use BCC option selected so that once again, no one inadvertently sees someone else's email. This is especially true for the scouts. I don't think Scoutbook.com does that because of the YPT issues, but I didn't want to take any chances, so I always leave this use BCC message selected. And then you just come in here and you type in whatever your message, test message, it was fun, I can't type, and you hit send. Now, if I had any on my calendar, which I don't, you can also insert your upcoming events for the next 1, 2, 3, 6, or 12 months. And what that does, and of course it didn't have any, it'll look at your calendar, anything coming up, Court of Honor, pack meetings, den meetings, troop meetings, campouts, whatever you've put on your calendar will show up there. You can also set this up so, like, say you're in a pack level, show the patrol selection list. It's very similar to like a den selection list. You can go through, and I only want to send an email to my leadership patrol because that's who my PLC is. So I want to unselect everyone, but I want to send a message to my leadership patrol, and it automatically highlights the scouts and whatever parents are in that patrol. Or if you're in a pack, it'll highlight anyone who's in that den. So if you've got a den that hasn't been meeting, or they've been, really behind on reporting their stuff, you can send a message through Scoutbook specifically to that entire den or that entire patrol. And you can also select all the leaders. So that's the send message thing. It's really great. I love it. Once again, I haven't had to memorize an email, and I think it's amazing. We'll show you the calendar. So, actually, let me show you something else. There's one thing you're going to want to get because it gives you a lot of functionality. So if you just come here to Google and you type in Scoutbook Chrome extension, a volunteer has gone through and made a Chrome extension. So if you use the Chrome web browser, this will work for you. If you don't use Chrome, it won't work for you. So maybe you want to use Chrome only for Scoutbook. If you don't like Chrome, I recommend you use it for Scoutbook. This extension gives you a lot of added features, and I'm going to show you one of them now. But it does all the things that Scoutbook doesn't for the most part. While we're waiting on the developers to actually hard code it in, this is just an extension. So you can come here and you can click on upcoming events, and that's how you get things on your calendar. So let's just say I need to set up, because today's the 16th. Starting in August 26th, we're going to have our first troop meeting. So what I want to do is I'm going to add this to the entire troop, so you can actually have separate calendars for each one of your patrols or each one of your dens. But this is going to be a troop meeting, so I'm going to hit the Troop 36 calendar. We're going to call it a troop meeting. It automatically adds people on here. So it's going to add all of your leaders and all of your scouts. I want an RSVP, but I don't want to call this a troop meeting. I want to call this other. And that's going to let me name it to a parent meeting. And we're going to have it at the school cafeteria. And we're going to start at, how's 6 p.m. sound? 6 p.m. sounds like a good time. We're going to start at 6 p.m. And it's going to end at 8 p.m. because parents like to talk. Now, one thing to remember is this thing will send you email reminders. But the times that it has on here is in Central Standard Time in the U.S. So when I set up email reminders, I always set them up 24 hours prior. I don't do anything less than 24 hours because of the time difference. Now, it'll still show up in our calendar at 6 p.m., but the Scoutbook hasn't figured out how to have a time zone option in here, so it detects your local time zone. So everything is hard-coded by default to Central Standard Time. So we just leave it in here as local time because we all know that. So make sure your parents know that. When you put it on there, that means local time. It may sync up kind of funny to your Google Calendar. So let's see. Who needs to come to this event? Well, I think all of my leaders should be there because they're important. I'd like to see all the scouts after summer vacation, but definitely all of the parents have to be there. So I'm going to select everyone and hit set. So there's everyone, and I've requested that they all RSVP and let me know, because if this time doesn't work for them, I'm not going to show up for only 4 people. Now, here's one of the things. This is only available if you have the Scoutbook.com Chrome extension, this repeating events toggle. This is probably the main reason why between this and the quick entry that you should get it. Normally with Scoutbook, you have to do this one meeting at a time. So let's say I wanted to schedule my troop meetings, and it's going to redo all of my invitees because that's fine. And we're going to call this our weekly troop meeting. Well, we meet every Sunday of every month, rain or shine, holiday or not, at 6:30 to 8:30 in the ACS cafeteria. But I don't want to have to enter this 52 times. So I hit this toggle button, and I want to schedule this every week. So interval is weeks, interval length is 1 every 1 week, and I want it to occur 52 times. I have just scheduled my next year's worth of troop meetings once I hit that save button. Another thing you can do with your calendars is you can mark any of this stuff. I'm going to do some patrol training every meeting, and every meeting we do a service project, and they always benefit the chartering organization, and we always manage advancement. I do the manage advancement on a 1-by-1 for each event because it does change, but it is something that you can do. So if you're not using the Chrome extension, and I'm only planning my troop meeting for the 26th of August, I come in here to manage advancement. And at this meeting, we are going to work on our scout rank requirements. So you have to hit the rank first, and then you can go in and remove the things you're not going to do, because by default, it adds all of them. So then you go in and you say, yep, we're going to do that, that, and that. But, we're not going to do any of this stuff. That's not what we're going to do at this meeting. I'm not even sure what most of these requirements are because I'm just scrolling too fast. But those are the ones we're going to work on. Now, that's how you save a future meeting. I know your next question. You're going, well, what about past meetings? What can you do with those? Well, there's a lot of things you can do with those. So here's a troop meeting that happened on the 6th. One thing you'll notice right here is an attendance button. Let's see, at this meeting, I was there, and my assistant scoutmasters were there. My wife was there because she was at the committee meeting. And all of these scouts were there. Oh, he wasn't there. He wasn't there. He was there. He was not. He was, etc. And you can save that attendance. So you can see your attendance at every single meeting. And this is every meeting, not just troop meetings. Den meetings, pack meetings, anything you want. You can any kind of meeting that you have, whoever you invite, you can mark attendance. Can you send attachments with emails? I think you can. I'm not quite sure. We'll go in and double check that right quick, David. But the other thing you can do with the past events is if you went in and marked the details for the advancement, you can add that advancement to those scouts. So it doesn't do it automatically for you, but by having a record here and of who showed up, you as a scout master or a cub master or a den leader can go in and, okay, these 6 boys showed up, these 7 boys showed up. I need to mark off requirement 1, 2, 3, and 4 for those 7 boys. So one of the things the extension gives you the ability to do is called quick entry. So it gives you a lot more options than the basic ones. But I think this rank requirement is there for even the basic one. So because I have in my other screen that we're not showing because this is completely an example, I have all of my scouts that were at that meeting. Well, so I've marked off who was there. So these boys were there. And at this meeting, we worked on these requirements. I hit the save button and it automatically, whatever I plug in here will automatically appear in their advancement record. So if I save it right now, it's going to say completed, but not leader approved. Well, I'm the scout master. I'm leader approving this, and I'm approving it as of that date. We'll say June 3rd. Now I hit save, and it automatically completes those requirements on their Scoutbook advancement. Now you'll see on the left, all of these grayed out boys, they've already earned their scout rank. So they don't have a blank for any of those requirements in there. So it's not going to let me sign it off. So those are some neat things about Scoutbook. Yes, I can try to do that, David, because I don't have a scout in the program. But what I'll probably do is maybe Catherine is still around, or even I can share my screen with you and I can walk you through it.
I am still around.
Okay, perfect. So let's see. So that's that. I need to clear up some of this. Let's see if I can send attachments for you, David. Yes, you can send attachments. You can't do them inline, but you choose a file and you find the attachment just like anything else. So you can do that. Let's see. What else? Oh, I want to show you probably the most important thing. You need help. You're new to Scoutbook and you have no idea what to do and you can't remember where the video is with my email saved on it. When you log into Scoutbook, just go here to forums. Okay, this is where you can actually type your questions in and any of your forums will show up. So your patrol or your troop forums, a patrol forum or a den forum has to be enabled. It's not enabled by default, but the unit forums are. But you have a question on how to use Scoutbook and you don't know where to go. I'm going to teach you 4 magic letters that you need to remember. And they're right here at the beginning of my slide. Scoutbook User Advisory Council. That's more than 4 letters. Scott, you're lying to me. Click this little magnifying glass here in the upper right corner, and this window drops down. Right there where it says Search All Forums, just type in SUAC and hit the Enter button. Now, there's probably a lot of references to these guys, but the one you want is right in here and using Scoutbook. It's probably going to be one of our first results, and look, there you go. SUAC, Scoutbook, Frequently Asked Questions, and Resources Table of Contents. So anything you can think you need to do in Scoutbook, there's a guide for it. This is for 98% of your frequently asked questions. So let's see, we're talking about Cub Scouts, and we're talking about, well, it's the end of the year, and we need to make all my wolves bears because next year they're working on bears. How do I advance a den to the next rank? There you go, a step-by-step walkthrough. That's one way. There's videos on it. Here's your infographics, frequently asked questions. Here's a tutorial for your parents. This is the email. Here's the attachment that I sent through Scoutbook to all of my parents for them to sign in for the first time, and I believe this one goes how to add their Scout. Let's see. View editing your son's profile. Marking requirements is complete because you can do that at the Cub Scout level. Calendar. Setting up an account your Scout can use. There you go. There's a PDF walkthrough for you, David. We're going to do it live for you. But just so you know, that's where it is. So just about any question you could come up with is on here. Now, if you're having crazy, confusing questions and you can't find the answer on here, shoot me an email. If you don't want to deal with this, shoot me an email. But they're all on there. Even how to apply a promotion code, just like we did. There's a video for that. And it's not just this one page. If you scroll to the bottom, these are all the different topics in red, but they have 3 more pages of information. And every one of them has a PDF. Merit badge counselors are on there. How do I tell if a parent has signed into his or her Scoutbook account? I mean, the sky's the limit. Okay, and we want to show how to set up your son with an account. Are you ready to share your screen again there, Kathleen? If you don't mind. Or Catherine, sorry, Catherine. I had to click over to the screen to see it said Catherine, not Kathleen. How dare I? I know. Or did you disappear?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good if you are.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter again. There you go. Okay. So what we want to do is, you don't have a son, so we want to give you a son.
I do have a son.
Well, not on here, you don't.
Oh, no, not on there. I don't know. But I do have a son in Scouts. I don't know if that's helpful or not.
It is and it isn't. What we're going to do is we're going to add him, and then we're going to go through and delete him.
Okay.
So that when you do your import roster, it won't cause any issues. But yeah, okay. You just want to click that Add Track a Scout button. That's all you're going to do. So for most people, their son will already be there after they've done the import. What on earth is this? Add a Scout to the plan. There we go. To the Patrol Pack or Troop Plan, the bottom one. What on earth? I don't know what's going on. Okay, let's go back to the homepage.
Says, yeah, it seems to be dashboard at once.
Yeah. It's being goofy on you. I have to figure this out. Yeah, it should have been just right there. Let's click on my account. Well, you know what? It's the advancement sync. That's what it's doing. Okay, yeah, let's go to my account. Let's see what it does there.
So I dismiss this tip, right?
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Yep, just click my account.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's go to my connections. Let's see what happens there.
Okay.
You don't have any connections and it won't let you add any. Okay, let's go back one. So just a little arrow right next to the home button. Mm-hmm. And let's go to my subscription. Let's find out what's going on there. Yeah, let's click that.
Would it help if I had is it the 30-day trial?
No, we already blew past that. So
yeah, we have that. Yeah.
Let's scroll up a little more. We want to go up above the pack. We want to see what it says for family.
Oh, for a family plan?
Yeah. What's it say there? Nope. Okay. Well, I was wrong. I cannot show you because you haven't imported your roster.
Sorry.
David, if you're willing, if your mic is working, you said you've imported your roster, but it only brought in Scouts. Do you want me to, if you're willing, I can share, I can make you a presenter and we can walk you through how to invite your son to connect. If your mic is working, sir. Or even if it's not. Okay, he says, let me get my mic working. Okay, well, we tried, Catherine. I'm sorry. We're going to have to wait till we do.
I'm sorry, I couldn't be more helpful.
Yeah, no, we've got to wait to do your import because we've we've already basically set your account up with a subscription, and so it's going, oh no, wait, you don't have any scouts that are activated with unit sync, so we've got to do the unit advancement sync first.
Okay, well, I will get that underway then. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else I need to show you that's very important from the start while we're waiting on David to get his mic working. Let's see. Oh, here's a cool section. So in the very beginning, it says references. So let's say you're new to scouting and your son keeps coming home and he's upset because he can't remember how to, he just can't remember the scout law, and you want to work with him. Click on scouting references and you click on the scout law, and there it is. I know it's obvious for some, but you want to see what requirements there are for each rank. It's under references. It's all right there, and these are the current requirements. You can find it in their profile as well, but it's also under the references section. Let's see. What else can I show you?
Can I ask you about with the second class rank requirements? Was that the latest, or will it automatically show you based on when your scout joined?
Okay, when you go to the reference sections, it's only going to show you the latest. When you go into their actual advancement, it's going to show you the requirements that they're currently working on. So it's not based on when they joined scouting, because, like, for example, as a Boy Scout, when they change the requirements, you generally have up to a year, if not longer, to complete the current requirements that they started with. So, for example, if your son was a Star Scout and they change the requirements for life, your son's going to have to do the new requirements, or he's going to keep working on the current requirements for life. But if they also change the requirements for Eagle, he would have to do the new requirements for Eagle since he hadn't yet started Eagle. Does that make sense? Did I explain that correctly? Okay, good. Good. I just want to make sure I did. So, let's see. I got a question from Melissa. We have a cub and a Boy Scout in the same family who usually attend with a tutor as their parents are unable to come to meetings. We currently send all email and communications to her and the parents. Can we do that on Scoutbook? And do we need any kind of special permission from the parents? So the first thing is a legal answer there, Melissa. You should have that person fill out an adult application. Because you're having a non-parent / guardian bring them to scouting. So you want to make sure that we go through the legal process. They have YPT and they have their background check. As far as adding them to Scoutbook, yes, that's very easy. I still will recommend, highly recommend, that you have them fill out an adult application. But what you do is you go to a scout, and I'm using my former senior patrol leader here as an example. So when you come in here, if this is blank, if you don't have parents there, then it'll say add a parent. But the easiest way is to come down just to Alan's connections. So you click on connections and you hit the add button. Now, for example, let's say you're adding me to Scoutbook because you want me to help you unscrew something. You can come in here and just type Scott Smith. It's not going to show up because I'm already added to Alan. But for someone who's not on Scoutbook, you come through, you fill out their information right here, email, secondary email, male, female, first name, last name, and you put other family member. Then you decide what access they have. Okay. That's the it should be the parent's decision. I don't recommend you do that. New registrants promote online registration. Good call. Okay, so David, is your mic working, sir? Or we couldn't get your mic working? We couldn't get your mic working. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you a presenter, David, and then it's going to allow you to share your screen, and I'm going to walk you through it, and hopefully everyone else can see me guiding you through a walkthrough. So this is going to be on how to invite your son, your scout, to Scoutbook. And I have to say that because only a parent can do it. So even though you may have access to all the scouts, you can only do it for your son. So the first thing we want to do is we want to back out and we want to go all the way to your home screen. So if you just click that little home icon up there, up near the top, little house looking thing, that's the one. Click on My Dashboard. Okay, and your son you are not listed as a parent for your son yet. So let's go into Troop 77 and we want to click on your son's account and we want to add you as his parent. So after you click on the troop, we want to go down to troop roster. It's the easiest thing. Oh, you have all those scouts not in patrol. You don't have to do that. Okay. There he is. Jackson. Okay. So you want to click right there, right where it says next to none, click add parents. So we want to add you as a parent first. And I'm going to assume that that's you listed as an adult leader. So we want to click on your name. Yep. Click there. Because you only listed yourself as adult leader. We want to list you as his parent so that he shows up in the right spot for you. Yep, all you have to do is check the parent box and hit the update button. And that should, once it closes out of the screen, it should give you the little dial in the center. Yep, there we go. And once it does that, just click on that home button again. We'll go all the way back to the beginning and walk it back through. Okay, so let's click on My Dashboard again. And now we want to click on Jackson. He shows up right there under My Family. That's where most parents will go to interact with their sons or daughters in the coming days / now if you're with Cub Scouts. And then what we want to do is we want to go down to Edit Profile. So if you scroll down a bit, it'll be, I think, 1 or 2 below Membership. And there's also a delay between what I'm saying and what you're doing on the screen. So, oh, it is the top one. Perfect. And it's a little further towards the bottom, I believe. Once again, please bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. There seems to be a delay between my words and his scrolling. But that's the red button we want to hit. So when you want to invite your scout to connect to his account, you have to go into his profile and click this red button. So if you are wanting to do that right now, David, you can. But all you would do is you click that red invite button, you type in his email address, and then hit the invite button again. And then he'll go through the same process that we saw Catherine go through, where he gets an email and he'll have a little 6-digit verification code, and he'll click the sign on to create an account and type in that verification code. And that point is when your son can go in and he can actually see all of his requirements that he's completed, everything he has waiting to do. He can actually go in and mark things as completed, saying, I've done this. And a lot of my scouts use that. In fact, I'm going to take back presentation real quick so I can show that to you. Show this window. So I have scouts that do that on a regular basis. They go in and they mark their requirements complete because we enforce Scoutbook religiously in our unit. I tell my scouts, unless you've marked your stuff completed, don't come to me for a Scoutbook conference, which I push them to get their stuff completed, but still. So when they've marked something as completed and you as a leader need to approve it, you come into this. So right here, I'm in my troop screen, just, like anyone else would go to. You just click on your unit and I go to my troop reports and my needs approval report. So I have a scout right here who he personally, his name's Leon, has marked 2 of his camping requirements complete. Now, I'm not his camping merit badge counselor, so I didn't approve these. His camping merit badge counselor will. But, for example, we're going to use Louis. Louis is a great scout. I love this scout. But he marked these 2 as completed. Now, we've got an upcoming Scoutmaster conference. I pull up this report, and I go, okay, Louis, what precautions do you need to take for a safe trip afloat? And we have a conversation. I check that box and hit mark as approved. That's it. And it shows up on his advancement. So I'll go into his advancement so you can actually see what that looks like. So let's go into his first class advancement. So you can see that same requirement is right there. He's marked it as completed, but I haven't approved it yet. I approved this one. You can see the blue check mark. It was leader approved by me, Scott Smith. But not the next one. I typically do these at Scoutmaster conferences. There will be other times like for the swim test. Every scout that was there, all the swim test sheets were brought to me. I went through and personally did that myself. That was my job during the swim test. On a camp out, maybe I taught how to use a GPS. I took the attendance. I marked that off and approved it myself right there. But if a scout marks something off, I generally approve that at a Scoutmaster conference. That's just personal preference. So that's how, and you as a parent, depending on the permissions that are given to you, can go through and do that as well. So once again, if you go through, like at a pack level, the pack program, it's family scouting. It's designed for the parents to be able to sign things off. It's not always the den leader. So you can go in as a parent and mark something as being completed. You just have to hit that blank check mark. I'll do it one more time. You can't see my cursor for some reason. That's unfortunate, but I'm just going to click in this 1A box, this clear, empty gray box here. I'm just going to click that, and it's going to bring this up. I pick the date, I hit set, and I hit save. And it's going to show up as a green check mark. That means a leader needs to take action. So if you're at the pack level, that means your den leader needs to go in and mark that stuff off. So I say it says right there, mark completed by Scott Smith. So I can see the mom signed it off or the den leader signed it off. If I see a den leader signing it off, I pick up the phone and go, hey, why are you marking it as completed? You need to go in and hit approved. Oh, that's right. My bad. Come in here. You hit the leader approved. It's that simple, guys. It's a beautiful, wonderful system. I'll show you a couple more reports. We've been at this for almost 2 hours now, and then we're gonna call it a night. But like I said, you'll have access to all of these recordings. They'll come out across the TAC Nation. So I showed you the needs approval report. One of the other reports I want to show you is a needs purchasing report. This is where you create your purchase orders. So it goes through and it says, let me show you an old one because that one's not enough. Everything that has been approved gets transferred 2 places. It gets transferred to your needs purchasing report and your needs awarding report. From the needs purchasing report, you can click a button that says add to purchase order. And this is what it looks like. Now, the beautiful thing about this are these SKU numbers. I can't tell you how many times I've ordered the athletics Weeblo's activity pin and got the personal fitness one because I said, the fitness one or whatever. With these SKU numbers, whatever you need is what you get. So you can take this, you can print it right here, you can print it as a PDF. If you have a Mac, it'll let you save it as a PDF, or you can use some other interface with Windows. I'm not sure what that is. Save it as a PDF and you email that to the program supply center. And that tells them what you need. Now this price over here are the US dollar scoutshop.org prices. Obviously it doesn't include shipping, but it gives you a good idea. For me, for example, I normally ship by DHL and that costs me 60 euros a package. Okay. I expect that 60 euros plus this. Okay, fine. But I email this off and there's no confusion and they say, okay, hey Scott, we're going to get this out tomorrow. So beautiful, beautiful report. Now, in the case of you have items on hand that you don't need to purchase, I still create the purchase order. But then I go back in and I don't have an open one here to show you, but I'll do this and I'll hit that create purchase order. So I'll check the items and hit the create purchase order. Then I'll come back just to say, and this is for a couple reasons, but I'll remove the ones that I don't need to buy again. So there you go. I only need to buy one. And that one is the one I emailed to the Scout Shop. In a closed purchase order, and this is why Scoutbook is so great. In the past, even using Scoutbook, I'd have to go into a closed purchase order and I would have to print this advancement report and send it off for no reason because now I'm under advancement sync. So that's why you want to add everything to the purchase order, but you don't have to anymore because of advancement sync. But say you have someone buying stuff in the States for you. Give them this report. They can go to any Scout shop in the States and buy this, give them 10 of them and say, listen, we're just buying awards for all these boys. And now they can say that this is one, here's your advancement report, but it's got all the information. You shouldn't have to, but for those units that do, it's got all that information on there. Here's the important thing right here. Scoutbook, advancement sync with BSA national database. No one can argue with you. This advancement has been reported. Period. End of story. It doesn't matter if I don't print this. It has been reported to national. The other place you're going to see this, and this is my other favorite report, especially being for overseas. You have a scout that is moving. He's moving to a unit that doesn't use Scoutbook. So you don't have to go all the way into the Scout. We're going to stay here on the troop screen and we're going to go to troop reports, individual advancement record. We're going to use Alan because I like using Alan. I'm going to select his name, scroll all the way to the bottom, and hit generate report. I have all of his dates that he's completed everything. All of his information right there. This is his advancement report. Here's two great things. One in the center is this QR code. If you have a camera phone, you can add a Scout to your unit by scanning this QR code. This little gray, goofy looking digitized block in the center of the screen where it's scanned to view Alan's online advancement. You can add all of this to a record for your Scout if a Scout came from a unit that had Scoutbook and you weren't at the time. It'll import all that information. Also, right here it says one item pending leader approval, advancement data as of 6/16/18, synced with BSA national database. All of this information is synced 100%. There's no more pesky reports you have to send anymore, guys. It's all right here.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
Say we get a Scout in the new year who's left their old troop. Can we request that they get this from their old troop, or would they themselves be able to have it because they already have access to?
Is the Scout coming from a unit that is using Scoutbook?
Well, this is going to be my question. It sounds like that should be one of our first questions to anybody signing up who says, I was in a troop back in America, or I was in a troop wherever.
The first thing you do is you ask the scout and you ask the parents, ask them together if they used Scoutbook. If they did, get them to add you as a connection. You saw how to do that earlier. Get them to add you as a connection and give you full control. Then you can just move them into the troop. You don't have to copy and paste anything. They give you access to the scout's records, and then you move the scout. You change his membership to your new unit. It's really easy that way. If he's coming from a unit that did not use Scoutbook, you're going back to the old method, because more than likely their advancement records aren't going to import when you add his BSA number to Scoutbook.
Okay.
So that would be just like we had done before, where you're looking at the book, you're looking at all the blue cords, or they bring you in a printout from Internet Advancement or a printout from Troop Master, whatever the case may be. You're going to be hand typing that stuff in. But once it's there, you never have to do it again.
Okay, so if they use Scoutbook, we talk to the parent, we then go through connection and we get connected.
That's the easiest way.
We have them connect us.
Yeah, the easiest way is to do it that way, because most parents will get confused. And you're going to be confused the first time you do this. Don't get me wrong. You're going to be confused. But all you do is you go into your scout, or you have them go into their son, and you can walk through it with them. So just have them scroll down, Alan's connections, and you know what? I'm going to add you right now. Let's see. We're going to go with Catherine.
Oh, without an E.
Without an E, of course.
Yeah.
Catherine Higgins.
There we go.
And I'm going to add you. You are now an adult leader, and I'm going to give you full control. Hit invite. That's it. That's all the parent has to do. Once that happens, you're going to go into that scout, and you may not find them under the troop because they're listed in a different troop. So how you find those scouts is you click on my dashboard and then click on my account.
Okay.
Because what you want to do is you want to scroll down to click on my connections, and you want to see all of the scouts that you're connected with, not just the ones that are in the troop. So for example, I've got Marwan. Marwan's moved. He's in a unit that doesn't use Scoutbook. But he decided this year that he's going to move back to Troop 36. So I come into Marwan's membership.
Right.
And I add his membership. And he's in a troop, just like we did the others, 0036.
Right.
My troop number. And I select my troop. And I want to put him in the leadership patrol. And I pick a date and I hit update.
Okay.
Once you do that, not only do you have permission to see his information and to mark off his advancement, but you've moved him into the troop. So it's a two-step process. Parents give you permission, you do the moving. It is possible for the parents to do this. It's more complicated than you need to make it for parents.
Yes. So my understanding then is that boy who used to be a member, the parents enabled you to stay connected with him, which is why when he moved back in, you were able to.
The parents never went through and removed me as a connection.
Okay.
So I never remove myself from a scout or delete a scout account. Ever, ever, ever. Unless a parent had specifically said that. So I did have 2 scouts that moved. And the mom is a very, very active mom, and dad was the scoutmaster before me. So both very active scouting parents. So I helped them move because they weren't very familiar with Scoutbook. They knew how to use it, but they didn't know some of the intricacies. They sent me an email and said, Scott, our new unit used Scoutbook. Can you move our sons into the unit? I said, sure. They gave me a unit number. I did some research. I figured out how to do it. And I moved them into the unit. I invited the new Scoutmaster and the new committee chair to connect with them. And then I sent them an email and say, hey, let me know if it's all working out okay for them. And then I'll remove myself as a connection.
Right.
So I did that. As a parent can go in and remove anyone from a connection for any reason. That is 100% the parent's right. And there's nothing we will do or ever do about it. That is, once again, it's a YPT thing. They want to own that account, they can. It's up to the parents. But most parents won't do that.
And with the new data protection, what just came into effect with EU regulation for the kind of 3 years or something, I assume the fact that the parents maintain control means that they control the data flow the entire time. So it's within keeping of the regulations.
You're talking above my pay grade.
Sorry. Okay.
I tell you how to use Scoutbook. I don't know anything about that stuff. What I can tell you is that, once again, once someone has connected to their account, it is impossible for you to glean some of their information, like an email address. So in fact, I'll even show that to you. I can't get an email address from any of my leaders. I couldn't tell you what their email address is from here. So this one's funny. This is my wife. So we'll go to, oh, there it is. Never mind. I'm a liar. But I can't do it for Scouts. I do know that for a fact. So we come to Alan. I can't see any of his information. I go into edit his profile. The only thing I can get from here is his BSA number and his birthday, which I cannot change. Look at this. It's grayed out. I can't do anything with it because that's managed by ScoutNet, by Akela.
Okay. Thank you.
So as far as I am aware, and once again, I am an amateur, we're good. But I'm not IT. I'm not BSA National. I'm not the council. I couldn't tell you anything about any Scoutbook GDPR requirement stuff. But I'm fairly certain that they've been on top of it the whole time. Okay, so I apologize if I didn't get to everyone's questions, but we've been at this for almost 2 hours. And it's been a great session. I want to thank everyone for showing up. Once again, I am going to be making these recordings, not just this one, but the previous 3 are all going to be available here in the coming days. They will come out probably across the TAC Nation. It'll be uploaded to YouTube with a private link so that you can see all that information. I really appreciate everyone coming out here. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, well, the first 5 you can address me. Here's my email and phone number. If you have any complaints, get a hold of Chris Wolf at the national office, and tell him you have a complaint about me. Other than that, once again, please don't hesitate to reach out for any reason at any time. You can find me in Scoutbook. Here's my email. Here's my phone number. I'm on WhatsApp. I'm on Facebook. Even though I don't like it, reach out to me and I will do my best to help you. Thank you once again for everyone. And please have a great night and a great scouting year.